What's going on, guys? It's El Tiburon, aka Retro Tiburon, on all the social medias, here with a Games I Beat in 2022 video. And we're gonna get right into it because I don't want to drag this out too long, but as always, we gotta have a swig of beer. Swig of beer for the games we beat last year. And swig of beer for the games to come, if you will. So let me start off with my first game. I'm gonna go from an order of games I beat. So the first game I beat this year was old Splatterhouse. Splatterhouse on the Sega Genesis, yeah. The Xbox 360. The original, well, the part 2 and 3 were on the Sega Genesis. The original's in arcade, and I think it was on the TurboGrafx 16. And I loved the ones from the Sega Genesis, part 2 and part 3. But truth be told, I never played this one. I dodged. Sorry, got some gameplay going on right here, right above me right here. I never played this one. I dodged playing this one because I remember hearing really bad things about this game, like that it was garbage, it was not good, it was broken. So I avoided it during the 360 era because of that. But recently I kind of got into collecting for the PS3, the Xbox 360, kind of, before prices start to spike, get too high. So I bought this one sealed, and I bought it sealed because I wanted the one that comes with Splatterhouse 2 and 3 as DLC. So I had to buy it sealed. That was the only way I was gonna get it. And I gotta say, I kind of enjoyed my time with this game. It's not the greatest game. I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's one of the best games I've ever played, but I had a fun time with it. It's a lot of like hack and slashing, and you're leveling up your character, Rick. I think you're still Rick in this game. You're leveling up, so then you're, it's kind of like it has that RPG element where, you get new movesets and you get to build up your character. You gotta make him stronger. You gotta make him faster. He has like a rage where he kind of pretty much becomes like the Incredible Hulk, and you can like destroy everybody on screen. Took a few notes on this one. Yeah, my likes were that it was cheesy, over the top, doesn't take itself seriously. A lot of corny jokes in here. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I like that you get to level them up. And I thought the cutscenes, I wrote that I like the cutscenes. The cutscenes were really, really cool for this game. Like, they're, even for it being like a 360 game, we're right now in the 4K era, but even for it being a 360 game, the cutscenes were really cool. At least I thought. Some of the dislikes that I wrote down, sorry, I have to read my notes because I beat this game in January. Actually, February of last year. Not enough checkpoints. Yeah, I remember that. Like, you would die midway through the game and you would have to like go back to like way too far. Like, there's no excuse for that anymore. Like, back in the days, okay, 90s, 80s, all right, I get it, but come on now. By the 360, there were save states, right? The platforming, oh yeah, another dislike. There's like platforming in this game, but as you can tell by the gameplay, very dark. And some stages go from dark to darker to you can't see anything in the damn room. So they make you do like these platforming, like these jumps, and sometimes you don't even know like what you have to latch onto. So it's really obnoxious. I remember getting like super frustrated with that. Yeah, I wrote that down. Hard to see where you're supposed to jump to sometimes. But even with that, I had a fun time. I kind of I guess I'm kind of glad I didn't play it on the 360 because maybe I wouldn't have liked it because, you know, part 2 and 3 were still pretty fresh on my mind, I think, at that point. But playing it now, had a fun time. Like I said, not the greatest game, but it was a fun time. It's like going to watch like a cheesy action movie, cheesy horror movie. You're not expecting like, you know, Oscar performance, but you know, you're there to have a good time, and I think I had a good time. So I gave this rating 3 out of 5. So it's good. I liked it. Next game I beat. Now I'm going old school here. I actually took notes on a notebook. I'm an old head. Swig of beer for paper. Swig of beer for Killing Tree. Next game I beat here. Miles Morales. Sorry. Spider-Man Miles Morales. I kind of have like my camera set up weird, so like the clips can play up here, so I'm kind of like all discombobulated. But yeah, this was a fun game. Spider-Man Miles Morales. It's pretty much what I felt it was like DLC for the Spider-Man game for the PS4, which I love that game. That PS4 Spider-Man game was awesome. So you know, I get the PS5. This is the first game I pop in to play, and honestly, I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. This is the only game I've beaten on the PS5. I've got to change that because that console was not cheap. But yeah, I had a good time with this one. It did feel like when I was playing it, like I was like, well, I kind of already played this game. It was like a Spider-Man 1.5 kind of. So I was a little let down by that. But either way, it's still great game. Miles Morales does have like different abilities than Peter Parker does in the PS4 game. So I'll give it that. Like he uses like electricity a lot, so he has like different abilities he can use. So fun game, not very super long either, but it did kind of feel like I've kind of already played this game. Could this have been like a DLC? But at least I'll say it wasn't. I think when I bought it wasn't full price, so I could be wrong, but I think it wasn't full price, so that's still passable in my eyes. Like I said, had a great time with it, fun time, but it did feel a little Spider-Man 1.5-ish. Some of the likes, as you can see, great graphics. I mean, it's PS5. Great graphics. What else did I write? Tight controllers. The fighting in these games, and the Spider-Man, the previous Spider-Man, and this game, tight controllers. Like the combat is super good. It kind of, when I first played the Spider-Man PS4 game, it reminded me of the Batman Arkham Asylum games. You know, very tight controls, very, you know, you can dodge, you can counter, you can do combos, you can take out, like, you feel like the superhero. Like when you play Batman Arkham Asylum, you feel like Batman. You feel like a badass. Same thing with these games. When you play as Spider-Man, whether it's Miles Morales or Peter Parker, you feel like a badass. Like you take out a room of guys, as you can see above me. You take them out and you can grab them, chuck them across the room, web someone up, like use your electrical abilities and go crazy on somebody else. Like you feel like Spider-Man. You feel like a badass when playing this game. So, you know, that was awesome. Like I wrote here, great fighting. Interesting story. You know, it has an interesting story. I don't remember much of it because I beat this one also. When did I beat this? Yeah, February also. But I do remember there's kind of like you have like a friend, this female friend, and she kind of turns to the dark side. So there's kind of like there's kind of like that drama there that Miles Morales doesn't know, like, she's my friend, but she's also like a villain now. So it's like an interesting story. Some of the dislikes, I have to read my notes because it's been a while since I played this and I'm old, if I haven't mentioned that already. Yeah, feels like DLC. It felt like DLC. Samey to Spider-Man PS4. Felt the same, but even then, I still gave it 4 out of 5. So it was still a fun game. Still liked it. Just felt like I had already played this game with a few little extra things in it. You know, swig a beer for sequels, for full sequels. All right, next game. Twisted Metal. Next game I beat was Twisted Metal on the PlayStation 3. So Twisted Metal for the PS3, just like Splatterhouse on the Xbox 360. Another game that I loved, the original games. I loved Twisted Metal and Twisted Metal 2 on the PlayStation. Hated 3, and I think there was like 4. Well, those are garbage. But I loved the original 2 Twisted Metals, and I loved Twisted Metal Black. So I have an affinity for the Twisted Metal games. So of course, when the PS3 came out, I had already bought an Xbox 360. So I wasn't gonna buy a PS3 because I think at the time it was $600, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like, oh man, I don't wanna. I was already like Team Xbox. I don't want to spend $600 for the PS3. But this was almost like a system seller to me. I almost wanted to buy the PS3 because I they were announcing, oh, Twisted Metal is coming out for the PS3, and I love Twisted Metal, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna buy it. But back in those days, I would actually read like, Game Informer and EGM. I don't know if they were still around, but I know I used to read Game Informer back when people would actually read magazines. And I saw that this one got bad reviews, just like Splatterhouse for the 360. And I was like, okay, then I don't have a reason anymore to purchase Twisted Metal. But I gotta say, I played it this year for the first time. I had a great time with it. Like, it was actually fun. I had a fun time with it. And it kind of reminds me, so as you can see up here, I'm up here in the camera right here. I streamed this on Twitch and YouTube, and someone joined my chat. Not for this game, it was for the Splatterhouse game. And I remember telling them, like, man, I never played Splatterhouse on the 360 because I heard it was so garbage. I'm having a good time while playing it. And I remember, I don't know who that guy in the chat was. He's never been in any of my streams since then. But he told me, like, you should play games and make your own judgment and not listen to what other people think. And you know what? I was like, dude, man, you're right. And because I had a good time with the Splatterhouse, I had a great time with this one. I think I enjoyed this one a little bit more than Splatterhouse. It kind of reminded me of just the mayhem of Twisted Metal 1, Twisted Metal 2, Twisted Metal Black. Is it as good as those games? I would say graphically better. Obviously, it's a better game graphically, but I think I still like Twisted Metal 2 and Black more than this. But I think I like this more than Twisted Metal 1. Like, it's a better game than Twisted Metal 1. I had a great time with it. It has a very short campaign. So if I remember correctly, you play as Mr. Grimm and you play his story. You play, I think is it Darkseid? Man, see, it's been so long. I beat this one. I was actually writing the months down. I beat this one in March, so I don't remember. But I think you play it as 3 characters. Oh, okay, so it's Sweet Tooth, Mr. Grimm, and I forgot this other character, this female character that wears like a porcelain mask. And it was fun, man. I had a great time. The cutscenes, just like in Twisted Metal Black and even Twisted Metal 2, like the cutscenes are really cool. And this one had like live actors for their cutscenes. Very grim endings, no pun intended, for those characters, for Sweet Tooth and was the girl with the porcelain mask, and And I forgot who the other character was, but yeah, fun game. I had a great time with it. Not super long. I think something that was kind of bullshit about it though was that I think the online is gone because the servers are gone, right? So I mean, it's kind of, I mean, it just happens, right? But it kind of sucks nowadays that you have these games that you want to play online, and maybe you missed out on them at the time, but you can't play them anymore online because the servers are down. But I think there's like a loophole, like some people can still play it online, but if you bought the game, me now, you can't. Let me see what other notes I wrote on it. I put the cars control great, which they do. Great graphics, the best graphics in any Twisted Metal game. Hey, come on PS5, make another Twisted Metal. I would for sure buy that. The cutscenes, yeah, the cutscenes are awesome. And the car combat, man. I mean, that's the point of these Twisted Metal games. You just want to get out there on the road and destroy the other vehicles, and you get to do that in this game. Some of the dislikes I put, some of the bosses, stages were a little annoying. Oh yeah. Okay, I put in parentheses, helicopter final stage, racing stages. Oh god, I just got reminded. Yeah, there's a racing stage, or there's a couple of racing stages in this game, and god, they are so annoying because you have to win the race. So there's some vehicles in this game that are super fast. So like, forgot the name of one of the vehicles, but oh man, I freaking hated some of these racing stages. Like, I must have played like them for a couple of hours, just constantly trying to get number one, and sometimes getting close and not winning. Oh, super annoying. And I wrote helicopter stage. Yeah, the last stage you have to, I don't know if it's the last stage. Oh, it says helicopter final stage. Yeah, it's you have to like pick up these things and drop it onto the enemy, like some bombs or something. But man, talk about annoying, like the precision, and you're getting shot at by all these other helicopters. Super annoying. But I mean, outside of that, I gave it a decent score. I gave it a 3.5. So I had fun. A couple of annoying things, but still a fun game. Swig a beer for the working man. And I'm out of beer. This is where I edit in me sitting back down with another beer. Bunny. I think the light's way too bright, but Bunny with a chainsaw. Shout out to the Billster for getting this one for me. Let's crack this one open. I'm not even halfway through. I gotta speed this up. Ain't that the best noise you ever heard? Little ASMR for you ASMR fans out there. Alright, it's a little foamy, so I won't take a swig yet. Next game I beat, WrestleMania, the arcade game. I had this one growing up as a teenager. It was, like I mentioned, Twisted Metal. It was the game that sold me on getting a PlayStation. I think at the time I had a Genesis, right? And I remember going to the mall, and over here in, like, by Beverly Hills, we used to go to the Beverly Hills, the Beverly Center, even though we lived like in Koreatown in the like not the greatest area, right? But we used to take the bus down to the Beverly Center or ride our bikes there. And I remember going to Electronic Boutique, which I think GameStop bought them out eventually, right? And I remember seeing like they had the PlayStation coming soon, and they were showing like what's to come. And this was on there, and I remember playing this at the arcade. So when I saw like, oh, this is gonna be on the PlayStation, like, I went to my mom, I want a PlayStation. I gotta play WrestleMania, the arcade game. So of course she bought me the PlayStation through I think it was through Sears. I think Sears is gone now, right? I don't think it's around anymore. But she got it for me through Sears, like in payments. Shout out to my mom. Love my mom. But yeah, I played the hell out of this game growing up on the PlayStation. Loved it. Like, I played the hell out of this game. And you know what? When I beat it this year, I was like, how the hell did I play this so much? I was a little let down, not gonna lie, when playing this on the PlayStation this year and beating it. I was like, man, something seems off. And then I think I read some reviews or something, and I saw that something was off about this version, and I noticed that some of the sound effects were gone, some of the music isn't there, so it just felt a little off. And I wound up playing through it, and as you know, it's an arcade game, so we know with arcade games, what do they want? They want our quarters. So going through this game was like kind of annoying because I don't know if you can see it on the screen right here. I also beat this on stream. You fight two guys, so it's a 2-on-1, and I think I don't remember anymore, but I think the last stage you fight 3 guys, I think. And it's like, come on now. Like, they're just trying to get the damn quarters from you. It's just super annoying. And, yeah, but I have a Raspberry Pi. And I have WrestleMania, the arcade game, on the arcade. And playing that one, after playing this one, I was like, oh, man. This is the version I gotta play. You gotta play the arcade version. Because the PS1 version, I mean, at the time, it's all you had. But now if you can emulate, I'm not saying to emulate, but if you emulate, play the arcade version. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. Let me see what else, if I took any other notes. Okay, the graphics cool, actual CD quality music, which, yeah, I remember when I went to the arcades and you actually heard like the actual CD quality version of like Sexy Boy from Shawn Michaels or Razor Ramon. You're like, oh man, like mind blown, because at that time you only had like, Royal Rumble and Raw, which I love those games, but the MIDI themes of the wrestlers, and you couldn't compare like a CD quality version of the theme to the MIDI theme, even though I love some of those MIDI themes. Some of the dislikes, like I wrote limited audio for the game. I put unfair bullshit. So yeah, when they make you fight like 2 guys or 3 guys, I put frustrating. Oh, lackluster ending. Yeah, you don't even get like a end screen. I think it's just like your wrestlers in the ring, and he's just like posing, and there's like these little cheap pyro, and I don't know, like some message comes out, and yeah, I guess I didn't really love this one. I gave it a 2 out of 5. Let's go to our next game. But first, I think my beer's ready. Swig a beer for the new year. Swig a beer for Raspberry Pi. Next game I beat. WWF in Your House on the PlayStation. By the way, this WrestleMania, the arcade game, and this game I beat on the backwards compatible PS3. Gotta love that backwards compatible one. Yeah, here it goes. Sorry, I think the light I put was way too bright. But as you can see, I also beat this one on stream. This one was not in the arcades, unless I'm mistaken. I think this one went straight to the consoles, probably like PlayStation, Sega Saturn. I think it was on the Saturn, but yeah, I mean, playing through this game is just a watered down version of WrestleMania, the arcade game. Let me see what I wrote for the notes. Likes, the roster. I put roster. That's all I wrote. So I think this one actually has more characters, selectable characters than WrestleMania. I think WrestleMania, the arcade game, only had 8, I believe. You can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think there was only 8 characters you could select. I think this one has more. I played through the game with Owen Hart. As you can see, one of my favorite wrestlers from back in the day, Owen Hart. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of cheesed through this damn game. I don't know if you can see the footage. I'm sure during the fighting, I was spamming the hell. I remember I was spamming the hell out of like the Owen Hart does like this headbutt, and when you're throwing that headbutt, you kind of freeze the other character. Like they can't really hit you. So I was just spamming the hell out of that headbutt button and like this other punch that he does. I was just spamming the hell out of it. No shame. I was just trying to get through it. Another like that I did put was though that it has ending videos. Like they actually, the one thing they have over WrestleMania the arcade game is that they actually give you like a video at the end once you beat it. I remember when I beat it as Owen Hart, like, you know, you get the Owen Hart theme. And for those of you out there that are wrestling, old school wrestling geeks like me, come on man, that Owen Hart theme is awesome. So you get a video package of Owen Hart with that theme in the background. I was like, oh, why didn't the other one have something like that? But man, I must have not really cared that much about this one because I didn't even write any dislikes. But I did score this higher than WrestleMania. I probably scored it because of the video at the end. That probably like saved it from being like a 1.5 to a 2.5. Yeah, so I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Swig of beer for the working man. Let's go to the next game. Next game I beat was the Turtles TMNT Shredder's Revenge. New game that came out this year. Really fun game. I might say it's might be the best TMNT game I've ever played, like beat 'em up game. And I really like the original arcade game, Turtles in Time. I think this might be the best one. I gotta say, I played it this year with my buddy Francisco and Daniel, and I think you can play up to 6 players on it at the same time. Just really fun game. I think they do a lot of fan service. Like you see a lot of characters in the background, like the frogs, like Genghis Frog, and what was his name? Genghis Frog, Napoleon Bonafrog. Like you see like a lot of characters in the background from the cartoons. You see like the neutrinos, and so they throw a lot of like little Easter eggs in there, and the gameplay is like really good, really tight. Each character gets like super abilities, and yeah, really fun game. Let me see what else I wrote for the notes. Intro. Oh yeah, they do like a recreation of the cartoon, the 80s cartoon. So that was awesome. The music in the game's awesome. Obviously you can see the graphics like great. It's like a callback to the 16-bit games, but you know, a little more clean. So great graphics. The roster, yeah, you get the Turtles, but you also get like Casey Jones, you get April O'Neil, you get Splinter, which it was kind of funny because I don't know if you saw in the gameplay that was on the screen right now. I was getting pissed at my friend Daniel and Francisco because I think I chose when we first started playing, I chose Michelangelo, and then my friend Daniel chooses April O'Neil, and my friend Francisco chooses Splinter, and I'm like, this is a Ninja Turtles game. Why the hell are you guys choosing like the non-turtles? But then the next time we played, they chose turtle characters and I chose Casey Jones because I like Casey Jones too. So, you know, I was guilty also. But I mean, it's kind of cool that you get to play as different characters. Yeah, all the characters. Yeah, so the characters play differently. Like they actually have different attributes. You know, one thing about the older turtle games, like they all kind of pretty much played the same, I guess. If there's one thing that was different was like, you know, in the arcade game, I think you typically wanted Donatello because Donatello had the bow, so he had like a longer range. But other than that, there wasn't really a difference in the characters. In this one, they play differently, so that's cool. Yeah, the character bosses, like it's pretty cool. Like you fight like you fight like the typical guys, right? Rocksteady, Bebop, but then you'll fight Slash, and there's a stage where you fight Toka and Razor, You fight like some more like maybe not as known characters, but you know, if you were a Turtles fan, you know who they are. There was like, I don't even remember the dude's name, but the guy with the like the bullseye, he's like a bull. And then there's a guy that's like a gopher and he goes underground. I forgot Ground Chuck, I think. Ground Chuck, and I forgot the other guy. So you find fight a lot of like different characters. So I thought that was cool. Dislike. I put story mode is too easy. So that is one thing, you know, with beat 'em ups. It's a beat 'em up game, so I kind of felt like in playing it, I feel like beat 'em ups are fun, but when they're too easy, they kind of become repetitive and it kind of doesn't feel like there's any challenge. I by no means love super hard games, but you need a little bit of a challenge. And this one was like the story mode is like too easy. You can keep spamming like the taunt button, and when you taunt, you gain like a special move, and the special move does a lot of damage. So you can do that non-stop. Just keep spamming like use a special and then hit taunt, you get another special, and you just keep doing that over and over. I will say, if you play this game, if you haven't played it, play the arcade mode, because I think that's harder. We couldn't beat the hardest difficulty, because I was like, come on, let's play it, like get a challenge, and we could not beat the difficulty. So hopefully one day I get to beat it. I think the hardest difficulty is called Gnarly, and we weren't able to beat it. It's like limited continues. It's a little bit harder. You can still spam the supers, but you get limited continues. You have to actually, I think, earn continues. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5 because, you know, thankfully it just doesn't have a story mode. It actually has the arcade mode if you want to challenge yourself. So hopefully I get back to it and, you know, get to beat it one day on Gnarly. That would be awesome. Next game I beat. First with a beer. Trying to get through these games. Try not to make this video too long. Next game I beat was Super Mega Baseball. I don't have a physical copy of the game because I beat this. It was downloaded from Game Pass on the Xbox. So yeah, I beat this with my buddy Francisco, aka Killer Rules. I think we won back-to-back championships. So there's another YouTuber out there, CM Retro, and I asked him, like, hey, if you beat a sports game and you win the championship, is that technically beating the game? Sorry, I'm like getting like burping while drinking the beer. And he said, yeah, if you win the championship, if you go through a whole season, you beat the game. Like, you win the championship, you beat the game. So I'm counting this as us beating the game. We went back to back, if I'm not mistaken. Super fun game. Like, I'm not a big baseball fan. Like, I'm just not. But I do like sometimes playing like baseball games. Especially like the more arcadey ones. Like, what was the one on the Neo Geo? I think it was like Baseball All-Stars or something. So I like that one. And this one is like a kind of like a combination. It's arcadey, but it's also simulation. It's kind of like a combination. So this one was like a super fun one. And you can like, in this one you can do like, the difficulty is literally like you can go from 20 to 25, 25 to 30. The higher you go up, the harder it gets. I think the furthest I got was 60, which my friend Francisco did not appreciate because he was like, man, you suck at this game. Put it on the lowest one. But me, you know, me having the pride of me thinking, you know, I'm a good gamer. I'm like, nah, man, like I couldn't look myself in the mirror if I put this on 20. Even if I get killed at level 60, I'm going to put it at 60 because you're at 60. So sure enough, I think the third season we got eliminated in the first or second round because I'm not gonna lie, I got carried. Killer Rules, my friend Francisco was carrying me. So some of the likes, yeah, good. Like I mentioned, good mix of simulation and arcade. Um, it has that like cartoony look, but don't get fooled. It does have like that simulation too. You can do the online co-op league, so I thought that's super cool. I don't know if the 2K games do that, but I hope they do, because that was fun. Like we went through a couple of seasons together, like online. I think that's fun. Yeah, the difficulty adjustment. I like that you can like if it's getting too hard for you, you can scale it back. But me being a dumbass, I didn't want to scale back. I had too much pride. Some of the dislikes. I put the fielding can be hit or miss, which is true, because sometimes you feel like you can catch it, but then you don't. It's a little wonky at times, the fielding. But I gave this one a 4 out of 5. So really fun game. Had a lot of fun playing this game. And like I said, I'm not a baseball guy. I'm more of a basketball guy, but fun game for anybody that's into baseball and hasn't played this one. I would recommend it. All right, next game I played. I don't have a copy of this either. Oh yeah, I do. I have a physical. Sorry. I beat, and I'm counting this. I know CM Retro on YouTube said, "Hey, you can't count games you've already beaten on your games I beat list," but I am. I don't care. I need to pad my numbers. Need to pad my stats. I beat on the Cowabunga collection, the original arcade game. I beat Turtles in Time, and I beat Hyperstone Heist with my friend Francisco Killer Rules. And I gotta say, here's a hot take, and I think I'm in the minority. I think Hyperstone Heist is the best beat 'em up Turtles game. I think after maybe Shredder's Revenge. It might be really close, but I think Hyperstone Heist is better than Turtles in Time and the arcade game. And let me tell you why. I think it's better, at least better than Turtles in Time, because the console version of these games, the Sega Genesis version, it gives you limited continues. You don't get unlimited continues, so you actually have to, like, you can't just keep pushing start, right, and keep getting continues. And I think in Turtles in Time, it's unlimited continues. I think Turtles Hyperstone Heist is a little more difficult, so I think it's better. But that's just me. I'm a Sega guy, so take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I beat a few of the games on there, a few of the classics. I've already beaten them, but getting the Cowabunga collection, we had to go through those games. It only takes like a couple of hours to beat them, but so much nostalgia, like playing the arcade game. I remember when I first saw that as a kid, as a Turtles fan, and being like, holy crap, like you can play like the arcade, like that's crazy. So yeah, I give this collection a 4 out of 5. It's really cool. This collection has like the NES games. It has like it has like the NES games. It has some of the Game Boy games. It has like the Tournament Fighter games. Really cool collection. Swig a beer for the Turtles. Oh man, I think that IPA is starting to hit me. Alright. Next game I beat. I don't have any footage, and I don't have an actual copy of the game I beat. But the game I beat was Guacamelee on the PS Vita, the first Guacamelee. It took me about a year to beat it, because I think I've gotten a little bit away from handhelds, because I haven't really traveled. So when I would travel with my wife, I'll take like a Vita or a Switch, and I'll play on, in the airplane, or, while we're waiting for the airplane. Yeah, so I haven't really played my handhelds, but I knew I was really close to beating Guacamelee on the Vita. So I was like, all right, I think last month I'm like, all right, I gotta get through it. So I got my Vita and I went through it, and man, this game is super fun. If you've ever played a like Metroid or Castlevania. It's kind of Guacamelee is kind of like that, but with a luchador named Juan, and it's really cool because it's like I said, like kind of like a Metroidvania, but it's a beat 'em up. So you're going through, and you're doing you're a luchador, so it's not only a beat 'em up, but it's a wrestling beat 'em up. So you're doing like pile drivers, and you're giving the bad guys big boots, and you're doing power bombs, and yeah, you're leveling up your character. So obviously you have to buy these moves. You have to purchase like the power bomb and the pile driver and the suplex and all that. But man, super fun game. I really like this game. I remember when it first came out, I avoided it because I thought the graphics looked a little cheap, and it was during that time where a lot of indie games were coming out, and I was like, oh, it's just one of these other indie games that are probably not that great. And man, when I played, I was like, man, this game is freaking awesome. I bought this PS4 version on eBay because I haven't played part 2, and I want to play part 2. And from what I understand, I think part 1 has co-op, but I know for sure part 2 has co-op too. Hopefully one day someone has Guacamelee 2, and I would be down for sure to play it on co-op. But yeah, Guacamelee, awesome game. Let me see some of the notes I wrote. It's a good combat. It's funny. Oh, that's another thing. They do a lot of like, it doesn't take itself serious. It pays a lot of homage to like old games like Super Mario Brothers, and it is a funny game. It's lighthearted, and yeah, it's fun to upgrade. Like I said, you could level up your character Juan, and you can buy like a pile driver. You can buy different abilities, and yeah, super cool. The only dislike, the platforming puzzles. Yeah, so this game was making me rage a little bit. It has some puzzles that require you to like jump, like do a lot of wall jumps, but oh man, it was so frustrating. So in this game, it's just like, maybe I'm just old, maybe it was too hard for me, but I'm playing on the Vita, and there's a button that switches you from the dead world to the more vibrant world, and some of those puzzles require you hitting that button, like switching, but at the same time you got to wall jump, and then you got to do an uppercut to get higher, and then you got to fly across the thing, and then you got to make sure you go into this it's just like fucking complicated. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just too old, and my it was too much for my arthritic fingers. But that thing was like super annoying. So that was the only thing I did not like from Guacamelee. All right, we're coming down to the last couple of games here. Last few games. Swig a beer. Swig a beer for video games. And if I'm starting to slur, it's because it's starting to hit me. All right. Next game I beat. Man, a classic. The original Halo. I don't have a copy of the Master Chief Collection, so I beat it on the Master Chief Collection, but I don't have a copy of that. So I'll show off the OG Xbox version. But yeah, my buddy, I keep mentioning him, my buddy Francisco, Killer Rules on Xbox. He wanted to play through some of the Halo games, so he's like, hey, let's play through Halo 1 on the Master Chief Collection. And playing it, I was like, damn, man, like, this game is still good. Like, this game still holds up, which is kind of crazy, because, I mean, when did it come out? 2000, right? Yeah, so we played through it, and I mean, just had a blast, and it brought back a lot of memories, because I remember when I bought the OG Xbox, when I bought it, I think I bought it through EB Games, and I didn't know what games to get. I know for sure I wanted Munch's Odyssey. I was like, oh man, because I think I loved Abe's Odyssey on the PlayStation, so I got Munch's Odyssey. and I got Dead or Alive just because it looked cool. And I didn't know what other game to get because it was like a package. Like you had to buy the system and it came with like 3 or 4 games. And my friend at the time, my friend Christian's like, get Halo. And I'm like, all right, sure. I don't even know what the hell Halo is, but I'll get it. I'll add it. And I remember when we popped in that game Halo back in the OG Xbox. You talk about being like sucked into a game. We were like sucked into that game. I remember we played it during like Thanksgiving. We didn't even want to eat. We didn't even want turkey. We didn't even want to eat because we were playing Halo. And it was 3 of us. It was my friend Killer Rules, Francisco, my buddy Christian, and myself. And it was 2 players. So like whoever died had to pass the controller. You know, if you died, you had to pass the controller up. But I remember like for hours, I think we spent the whole Thanksgiving just playing through that game. And playing the game now, I was like, man, this game is still good. Like, why don't they make more games like this? This game is still good. Yeah, some of the notes I put was, yeah, nostalgia. Like I'm saying right now, like getting nostalgic. Tight controls. It's still good, man. Still a good shooter. Still holds up. That's what I wrote. I didn't put any dislikes for this game. I gave it a 4.5. Yeah, 4. Did I give a score for Guacamelee? Guacamelee, I gave it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, for Halo, 4.5. Just, I mean, what can you say? It's a classic. It's a classic game. And this was, like a game that before Halo, I think the only first-person shooter I had played, or first-person shooters, were like GoldenEye, and maybe like, you all remember Zero Tolerance on the Sega Genesis? I think those were the only like first-person shooters I had played before Halo, because I never played Doom growing up. So in playing Halo, like it was just like, what? Like there's games like this? Like it felt like such a step above any other shooter. Like it to me, like GoldenEye was like nothing compared to Halo. So yeah, it still holds up, still great. I gave it a 4.5. Next game I beat, second to last game I beat actually, was Halo 2. I didn't beat it on the OG Xbox. I beat it also on the Master Chief Collection with my buddy Francisco, Killer Rules. And you know what? I always said that the original Halo had the better campaign, but Halo 2 had the better multiplayer. Because I used to play the hell out of this multiplayer. Even when the 360 came out, this was backwards compatible, so you could still play it on 360. This was the game I played the most early, like the first year of the 360 was still Halo 2. But I always said, oh no, Halo 1 has the better story, has the better campaign. But I gotta say, I'm playing it through with my friend. This and it was just recently. Like we're still playing it. I'll get to that later, why we're still playing it. But in playing it recently, like this game, the campaign, I'm gonna say right now, this is the best Halo campaign. Halo 2. And I always said it was Halo 1, but it's not. It's Halo 2, man. Some of the likes that I put, the dual wielding, that's like a game changer. Like you could actually hold 2 guns at the same time in this game, and it's so satisfying. I don't know. I think the clip already played where you're holding like 2 needlers. Like there's nothing more satisfying to me in a Halo game than filling somebody up with the 2 needlers and having them blow up. So the dual wielding. Oh, the rocket. You can actually lock on with the rockets now. The AI in this game, whether you're fighting them or they're with you, like the AI still holds up, man. Like it's still good. And this is, when I was playing with my friend, I'm like, why don't they make more games like this? Like, I gotta say, even like the new Halos, it's no longer Bungie, right? It's I don't know, is it 343? I think I feel like Halo kind of lost its soul, like since it left Bungie. Like it's not the same. Like in playing this, I'm like, this is a game I could play if a new version. Sorry about that. A new version of this game came out now. It would be just as good. I would play it now. I love it. So now, in saying that, the thing that I hated about playing this Halo 2 was that I played it on the Master Chief Collection, and you talk about it crashing every freaking day. Every day we played it, there was a crash. So it's super annoying because you can't even like sorry about that. We couldn't even enjoy our time playing the game a lot of the times because it would just crash all the time. So we wound up like beating the game finally, and I think only like we didn't get all the achievements because it didn't give us credit because it was constantly crashing. And we went back and played some of the stages to get the achievements, and I'm still playing it now. We started like 2 months ago, but my friend still wants the achievements for beating the game, and we have to go back to the same 2 stages. I think it's Quarantine and Uprising, I think. And every time we play them, it crashes. Like, and there's no checkpoint, so you can't like, let's say you're an hour into the stage and it crashes, you can't just reload it. Like, you have to go from the beginning. So that's like super annoying. I'm like, why did they even release the game if it had all these bugs and they couldn't even fix the bugs? Like, super annoying. Also, something I forgot to mention with Halo 2 and Halo 1 is you can, in the Master Chief Collection, you could change from like old school mode to remastered mode just by pushing select. So that's like really cool, because when that happened, when I saw that, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I want to play on the upscaled graphics, the remaster, which looks awesome. But that would cause it to crash sometimes. So it's like okay, so I can't even play it with the damn remastered graphics, because then it crashes. But then you play it with the old graphics, and guess what? It still crashes. So it doesn't matter. So yeah, super annoying. I mean, this game has been out for years now. Why hasn't that been fixed? I don't know. But even saying all that, this still got my highest score of any game that I played this year. I gave it a 4.75 out of 5. Halo 2, man, awesome game. All right, last game that I beat, Burnout Paradise on the remastered version of the Series X. I don't have a physical copy of it. I think I bought this like on a sale, like maybe a couple years ago. Really fun game. I never played any of these games. I think these were originally on the 360, right? PS3 era. I never played any of the Burnout games growing up. And I don't even know why I bought this one. It must have been on sale for like $5 or $10, but I bought it and started playing it like a couple years ago. It took me like a couple years to beat it. Man, super fun game. Like, Burnout. So you're like, you can total cars. You can there's takedowns. So you're taking down vehicles. You collect cars and you collect them by chasing them and taking them down. There's races, there's marked man, there's like takedown mode where you have to take down like, let's say 10 vehicles, 15 vehicles. So that's a challenge. Really fun game. Like I said, it took me a couple years to beat it because there's a lot of like challenges you have to do. And I think one of the dislikes I put was it was repetitive. It kind of did feel like, okay, you do either a race, you do like the marked man where you have to get to a point you have to get to a point without them like wreck. Yeah, so that was one of my only dislikes. The other dislike is maybe it's just me again, like I mentioned with Guacamelee and my arthritic fingers, and me just being old. It's kind of hard to tell where you're supposed to go because there's, you're going so fast in a Burnout game. They have a little like a little radar in the corner, right? But you're like flying like 300 miles an hour down the road, and then like I can't look at the radar because once I take my eyes off the road, I look at the radar, I'm crashing and I'm wrecking. And it's a little frustrating sometimes when you're like in races, because at you'll start the race, you don't know really how to get there. So unless you memorize the damn map, it's a big map. But you're flying like 300 miles, and then it'll say, "Oh, make a right here," and you have like a split second. And sometimes you want to look at the radar, but you can't, because then you're gonna hit something, and then you lose the race, and then you can't progress in the game. So, yeah, that was the only thing that I was. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just old and can't keep up. But some of the likes, the music, man, the music in this game is awesome. It's licensed music. Some of the music I heard in this game, I wound up downloading like on my YouTube music playlist because it was so catchy. Just adrenaline. I put adrenaline pumping. Yeah, because like I said, you're like racing. You're flying down the road, and you're doing these tight turns, and you're taking down vehicles on the road. So super fun, and it's a good pick up and play game. Like, let's say I got 30 minutes to kill, I could just jump in and do a couple of challenges and get out of there. Like, good like pick up and play. And I think that's why it took me so long to beat, like, because every now and then I would just like do a few races, and then I would put it down, and maybe I wouldn't come back to it for like another 3 months. Then I would jump back in. I'd be like, all right, let me play some more. Let me try to get through this game. And as I got closer to the end of this year, I'm like, man, I gotta beat this damn Burnout game, because I'm pretty close to getting the grade A license. So finally did it. Yeah, fun game. I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5. And yeah, that was the last game I beat. So I think in total, how many games did I beat? I know I beat more games than I beat last year. If you go back in my archives, I did a video. I think it was my first ever video on YouTube for last year. Games I beat in 2021. I think I beat 8. So this one for sure I beat, I think like 13 or 14. I'm not sure. But yeah, if I had to pick my favorite game of the year, man, it's gotta be, even with all the shit I talked about, the crashing, I still gotta be Halo 2, man. This game is still awesome. It still holds up. I think it's still gotta be Halo 2. Maybe right behind it I'll put, maybe Guacamelee. Guacamelee was a really fun one. And yeah, that's pretty much my list. Just to give some goals for next year, as you know, and making this video and making my list, I noticed I have a Switch. There's not one Switch game I beat this year. That's got to change. So I got to beat at least 1 or 2 Switch games this year. Same thing with the PS5. I only beat 1 game. That damn console was expensive, so I got to get through a couple more games, at least 2. If I beat 2 Switch games, 2 Series X games, that I'll be happy, because if you've noticed, a lot of the games I beat were on the Series X, and that's because that's the main system I play. But I don't want to neglect these other systems, Gotta show them all love. Yeah, but that's it, guys. Thanks for watching the video. And if I'm slurring at the end of this video, it's because this little bad boy started hitting. Truth be told, I've recorded 3 videos today, so I might have had more than 1 beer. So yeah. Anyways, have a great New Year's, guys. Take care.